Hey guys, and thank you for listening in into our first podcast of Anime Huddle. I am Joel, your host.
Hi, this is Kim.
This is Alex.
Hi, this is Edgar. And just as a little warning, we are going to be talking spoilers for Attack on Titan, Shingeki no Kyojin, Season 4. So if you haven't caught up with the anime or the manga, please make sure you catch up before you hear any spoilers. We wouldn't want to do that. So yeah, let's dig in. So I really enjoyed, you know, how we started this season. Very interesting, very different. We don't catch up with the main cast of characters. We begin with Marleyan and Eldian characters. In this case, Falco, laying on the ground while,
Yeah.
he's being riddled with bullets. And something that caught my attention while viewing this episode was that uh, you know, uh, he looks seriously concussed, but he starts talking about a dream that he had. He was flying through the air and he had a large sword. Um, and interestingly enough, in the first episode of Attack on Titan, we also get a similar scene that I think it's very similar, to how season 4 started. And it's about Eren, in a dream state and him being awoken suddenly and commenting that he also had a weird dream. So how important do you guys think that detail is in the overall plot of Attack on Titan?
It's huge. I mean, this could possibly be like connected to the ending with the time loop theory that's going around.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think?
I actually think I'm not so sure if it might have a huge impact on the overall story or how the whole arc is gonna end. The story. But I definitely do see maybe how Isayama he was trying to put some, how do you say it? Just
Like,
some relevance to how Eren and Falco are. We do see throughout the episode that he is the most human out of all of his partners, as Udo, Gavi, and Sophia. We do see that he starts bandaging up a mid Eastern allied soldier in the middle of a war. And
That's
the rest
true.
of them are just like, hey, what are you doing? He's our enemy.
true.
But you see, like, we see his humanity, which is something really cool, I thought, and brings it back to Eren.
Yeah,
Although right now he's a murder killer, cold blooded
Yeah,
murder,
that's
but
true.
you know, maybe in the beginning of Attack on Titan.
yeah.
I
And oh, Kimberly, you wanted to say something?
no, yeah, I totally agree with Joel because I feel like if Eren hadn't experienced what he did before the colossal titan attacked, he would have that same compassion as well.
That is correct. And I wanted to come back to something you said, Kimberly, about the time loop theory. So, knowing what we know about Titans and the coordinates, and the fact that the title of the first chapter and episode of Attack on Titan is called To You in 2000 Years, do you think that time manipulation is a heavy element in this story?
Yes, I do.
You do. And like, there's a bunch of time travel, time manipulation, stories out there. So would it be a deal breaker to you if this was a time travel story where the main protagonist has to go back in time to change something in the past?
Mm, yeah, I think if they do that, I think they're gonna be steering away too far.
What is this time loop theory you guys are talking about? I'm not too familiar.
I don't know it either. So if you guys, one of you guys could explain, I actually have never
Oh,
heard of a time loop theory.
wait.
Um,
So there's time travel now in season 4, like potentially, or what?
it could be because of how it started, because of Falco,
Okay.
because he started just like Eren did, and supposedly the theory is that um Eren is reliving, is gonna relive everything until he gets like this certain ending
Okay.
that he wants, because he's doing it all over again. So that's why when he wakes up, he's like, "Oh, Mikasa, your hair is longer." And if you remember, Mikasa's hair is shorter in this
Oh
season.
yeah, that's true.
That is actually an interesting point that I hadn't thought of. And you know what? Like it makes sense because so far what we know about, Ymir and the Coordinate Titan is that it can like look at people's histories and like and past and future memories.
Mhm.
Right.
That's what we know so far. And I mean, I don't know. It could have some sort of like implication into how this story comes to an end. However, if we do have some sort of story where, Eren as the main character has to change something from the past, I do think that it would be a deal breaker to how good the story is overall for me
Mhm.
because I don't know, like I started watching this story and I guess I got into it thinking it was like a different type of story and them going all the way to time travel. I feel like it's like very far from how it started. You get me?
I think it all depends on just execution. I mean, there are, like you said, there are many time travel stories out there. Uh, just the execution and how it's made, the stakes that are in place. I think that's what makes or breaks a time travel movie.
I guess that makes sense. And I guess the reason I say it is because there's only like 3 chapters left in the manga. So unless Hajime like is able to implement this story element really good into how the story comes to a conclusion, I mean, I think that that's how. I mean, again, me liking a story is very subjective. So I guess we'll see
No,
how
I
he does
get
it.
you. I get you because I mean, I hope as long as they don't do like the whole groundhog, like what's it called, like the groundhog movie, the whole cycle starts
The loop.
again, the
Uh-huh.
loop, yeah, like over and over. Oh, that's so annoying. Like
You
to
know,
re-see it, like see everything again.
I mean, what you guys are talking about is just kind of like I never went into season four, thinking about time travel at all. And this is the first I'm hearing this, so this is pretty interesting. But I'm kind of lost. I'm kind of like, have I missed something or?
Well, remember also when the owl, like he also mentioned to Grisha, like he also told him save Armin and Mikasa because
Mikasa.
and he didn't even know who those persons
Right.
were
But
Yeah,
he because of his Titan ability, he was able to see
because of the memories.
other memories, right,
Because the founding titan can see memories from the future and
from the
from
past.
the past.
yeah.
Oh, that's
And
good. That's good. I mean, that's one way it could end. I mean, with time travel, but what do you think are other ways that Attack on Titan could end? What are you guys' predictions?
Honestly, I'm kind of going into season four like very uh my how can I say, like vaguely. I'm kind of like vaguely going into season four, so I think I don't know. I am
Just ready to write a story.
What's that?
Just ready to write the story.
Yeah, in other words,
Wherever it takes you. Yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and I think Hajime has done such a great job creating this story and these characters where like anything goes. I mean, I think that's part of the charm of the first season and why it got such a huge following because we understood that there was high stakes every single time. And anything could go. We went into this world like full of mystery. They didn't know how to defeat the Titans. They were this huge threat, and now we're on season 4. Fighting humans. Like, how do you get from Titans being like your worst enemy, like your worst nightmare, to humans being your worst nightmare.
Right. Actually, when it is the writer, is he like the sole writer of this manga and anime?
Yes, Hajime Isayama.
I've always been like extremely like what do you call it? Like bewildered at how a single person can write such a story. Like I was telling you before, have that I really like the pace and the story structure of the anime, of how sometimes we get intros of and the intro is about recalling another scene from a previous episode that we hadn't seen before. So it's always been it's pretty crazy how one single person was able to tell a story like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and he has done a great job with the characters. I I don't get the little fad of people wanting Gabby to die. I think she's pretty cool. She's just basically Eren in girl form. She just understands a bit more of the story of the Titans,
Okay.
and there's many correlations between Eren and Gabby. I mean, Gabby's getting her own
Let me
startup
stop you
as
right
Eren.
there,
Yeah,
though.
let me
Let me
stop both
stop
of
you
you
right
right there.
Okay,
there.
Actually,
go.
So, like, the thing is, they are very similar, but they didn't live everything like Eden had no choice in the matter, and Gabi did. Like she does. She
I,
has a
how about
choice.
how
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 about
about if you how about if you see it this way? Sorry. Edgar. How about if you see it this way? What if season one started with Gabby, and then season four, Eden was brought up for the first time?
I honestly think Gabi would have taken the same decisions Eren did, and Eren would have taken the same decisions as Gabi did. Because of course, Eren, he was put into such a big decision making,
Mhm.
a big story that he didn't know what
I
he was getting into. But Gabi, she knew. So even if you switch the characters around, I think they would have done the same decisions and had the same reactions.
but I feel like I mean regardless, I feel like Eden didn't really actually want this war to happen because if you remember when he told Falco and Reiner like we're both the same like. And he only started the war when Willie started saying, like, this is a declaration of war. That's when he, started. I know I'm getting
Wait
kind
a
of
minute. Who's
off
Willie?
topic.
He's the king? No, he's not the king.
The guy with the long hair.
Yeah,
Okay, but
he actually is the king of
didn't he
Marley
show up, or
in the
wasn't he there
Shadowlands.
with
I
that sole purpose?
Yeah, well, no, well,
Like his plan
he
all
might have
along?
changed his mind. He might have not
Really?
gone into war.
yeah, I mean, if we start talking about like that scene with Eren attacking Willy, like uh, it's very interesting because after Tyver tells the story of the Titans, he does his declaration of war against Eren, but like we need to think about like was it Eren's plan all along to attack Marley, or
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
did he go into Marley with like the off chance that there would be some sort of peaceful resolution?
Exactly.
Well, I think he did like go in wanting war. But once he saw that they were all um just like how they were, like there was people that were innocent as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, they were
Do
just
we
people.
know how long Eden's been in Marley?
Yeah,
How long? How long?
been 4 years now.
Oh, so he's lived is
I think.
literally since the events that took place
Uh,
in season three. He's been living in Marley for like that amount of time.
I'm not too
Um,
sure. I think he's
You know
been
that, right?
there a lot less than 4 years. I know there was, we know that there's like a 4 year time skip, but
oh, that's true. Yes.
Yeah, right.
Eren wasn't there like all those 4 years. I'm pretty sure he was there just enough time to gather intel for the rest of the
I guess build
scouts.
rapport and maybe at the same time like kind of like release any suspicions on him. I mean,
Yeah, something like that. I found very interesting, the little details um before Eren made his attack against Willy Tiber. Um you know, I think Kimberly agreed with me that Eren came to Marley with some sort of, hope that all this war between the races would come to a peaceful resolution. Um, in that episode, Declaration of War, he empathizes with Reiner. He understands that they were just a byproduct of their environment. The experiences they grew up with. I mean, just think about all the brainwashing we saw just on on the first episode, I'm sorry, of season 4. All those Eldians, they were like out of their mind scared, and the commanders, sending him off to the front line so that they can be basically like,
Killed.
yeah, exactly, like I guess bullet vests, being human shields.
Right.
It's just insane the way that the Marleyans were treating the Eldians. And Eren saw that. He saw that, it's not their fault. They're being raised since a young age to despise the Eldian blood, like to despise themselves. And that's why I empathize with Gabi. I don't understand the hate that she gets when she's just a byproduct of her environment. And Eren is
Right.
as well. I mean, Eren, he's also he starts off with this hate towards the Titans, but now that he's in Marley, he understands that they're just persons, being indoctrinated, like, and having all this hate based on the experiences that they go through.
Yeah, so in
But
technicality, everything that where it all boils down to, sorry, is Tiber and King Fritz. I mean, if everybody was being brainwashed, I mean, over there on Paradise Island, everybody thought that the world had been destroyed. They were the last humans, and the walls were the only things that were protecting them. The Marleyans on this side, they thought that Halos was their hero, and he killed the Titans and he drove them all out. The only reason why Paradise Island of King Fritz with the founding Titan hadn't come to destroy them was just coincidence. And Willie Tiber was the only one that had this information. So now that I actually think about it, everyone was being everyone had different points of views and was being manipulated. Yeah, I kind of heard what you were trying to say, Kim. Everyone was being manipulated. So now that I think about it, war was inevitable since everyone was led to have misinformation.
Right. I still don't like Abby.
it's because the thing is, so, it's like Elliot was saying, like you have to see the bigger picture aside from what you're watching at the moment. Yeah, I mean, at first sight she seems a little bit annoying, um, but yeah, like Elliot was saying, like at the end of the day, she was just she is, I guess, a product being used, and it's because like I feel like all of them are kind of like predestined. Is that how you say it?
Mhm.
Like already?
Okay.
So they kind of have no any other choice, I guess.
Yeah, and that goes back to the point that Joel was saying, like, you know, Willie was the only one who knew what was going on. So, of course, like, since they're being fed all this misinformation, of course they were gonna, like, at some point clash. And, I mean, this just begs the question, was Willie Tyver the enemy all this time? Was he the real enemy?
I mean, that's true. And you could see it as King Fritz. The Marleans always saw King Fritz as the guy to kill, for all this suffering. But in reality, he was actually the hero of this story. The only reason why the Great Titan War stopped was for his desire for peace. And once he left, he just told Tiber, uh, just let me live on this island for some time, and then if you want to come and kill me, you can come and kill me. I'll accept my fate. But if not, I'll accept that too. And that's why um, the yeah, I mean, peace was in Marley because of King Fritz. And the only thing that was stopping from Paradise Island from dying was this misinformation.
That is true. And, I mean, we just also have to think about the power that King Fritz held. On later episodes, we do learn that the founding titan has the power to start this thing called the rumbling. And I mean, legend says that if the rumbling is activated, that it would basically flatten the world. So
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
yeah, so like the only thing stopping uh the founding titan to enact the rumbling is King Fritz's will to stop war. But now Eren has the founding titan. So I think that the heroes, because of the lack of information that they had, they had all these actions, and Eren, of course, got the founding titan, and now like they have the ability to start the rumbling. So is Eren now the real enemy?
How the
No.
turntable.
I know, it's just very very interesting. Like, I mean, if we want to like pick sides, like there's a lot to go around.
I think that's what makes the
Mm.
story so awesome. You can see how each side is right, but then you can see how flawed their plan is as well. I mean, we see. I mean, the scouts. They have always been the protagonists of this story, but now that we're seeing just them killing people, I feel like going on the Marleyan side. But then, now that I think about it, the Marleyans, they are oppressing the Eldians, and they say they're trash, the scum of the earth. And I want to go back to the scouts, but they all have their flaws and their plans, and nobody is right, yet everybody is wrong.
Yeah,
Wait, nobody is wrong,
going
but
back to
nobody's
what
right.
Eren, but going back to what I was talking about Eren when he was talking to Reiner in the basement or whatever it was. I don't think he wanted more. I don't know. I mean, if it weren't for Willie, I don't think there would have been war. I'm not
But
sure.
wait a minute. Well, what happened? Okay. Yeah, but at the same time, though, I mean, Eden knew that the festival was going to take place, and what else could have had happened? You know what I mean? Like it was. I think it was like it was very obvious even to him,
Mhm.
and I think that's the reason why that he brought in Reiner right before the festival.
I mean
I
that
guess I don't know, for some closure. I don't know.
I mean that is true. And I want to talk about, like, this little moment in that scene where Reiner and Eren, finally get reacquainted after a few years. There's a moment where, like, I felt there was like a lot of similarities and parallels to like what was happening. So if we go back to season 2 on the Reiner and Bertolt trader reveal, uh, we see that Reiner, the only reason that Reiner revealed himself as the traitor was because he gets triggered by the word hometown. That, Eren
Right.
tells him, it's like, we'll go back to our hometown. And, he reveals himself, like, I don't think that Reiner would have revealed himself if he wasn't triggered by that word. And the same thing, or the same type of reaction, I think I saw with Eren. So as Willie Tiber is speaking, he says the phrase, and this is a phrase that's been like said,
Oh yeah.
the
Mhm.
phrase, because I was born into this world.
Mhm.
And we have heard Eren say this phrase before. And
So he gets triggered.
This phrase, just to add, this was from Carlo, right? From
yes,
his mom.
yes, so Eren's mother says this phrase,
Oh,
and
that's true. That's true.
at some point Eren also says that phrase. I believe during season 1. And like, just seeing the similarities as like both Reiner and Eren, as they get triggered, their eyes go like slightly wide. Like, I feel like maybe Eren was not going to go forward with it, with, attacking Marley.
Okay. Actually, when you put it that way, yeah, I'm kind of reconsidering what I said before. I hadn't really thought about that actually.
No, 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 and it's completely valid. Like, your point is completely valid, because I mean, what was Eren doing there in the first place? Like, especially like at a time where there was a lot of important people from Marley there. So it just shows like the three-dimensional aspect to every single character.
Yeah, I mean, his hate of Titans in the first 3 seasons just basically gets shifted to Marley, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now I do want to talk about, after the whole declaration of war, uh, we do see, Eren transform himself into the Attack Titan, but we also see the Warhammer Titan. And interestingly enough, like, I felt like the story was like dropping hints that the Warhammer Titan was Willie Tiber, but then
Mhm.
we get the reveal that it's actually Willie's sister that is the
That's right.
Warhammer Titan. Now, how did you like, the
The twist.
What twist?
I mean, the
More
Titan the Titan designs. I'm sorry.
the Titan designs. You mean like hers, Warhammers, or in general?
Yeah, in general, I think, because, I mean, as you probably noticed, the Titans are all 3D CG.
Okay.
And I heard a lot of like uproar in like Twitter and other social media, that they hated the character designs.
Yeah, I heard that too. I mean, I think they were good. I think the Warhammer looked really cool. Like, I mean,
The
it would
Titan
have been,
of
huh?
itself, even in it of itself, has such an awesome design, which is props to Isayama, right? But the 3D, I just don't want to criticize Mappa because all the fandom is, and this is the only studio that is actually animating Attack on Titan. It was the only one to come forward and say, you know what, we'll take this monster on, and I don't want to not have to watch Attack on Titan since I'm not reading the manga.
Okay.
That's true, and I think, because I mean, we also see, like during that attack scene, we see the new character designs of Mikasa, Levi, John, um, Sasha, Connie,
Um,
Armin. Yeah, we see, some change in character designs, and I think it was just perfect that, right when we get a studio change, we get like a little bit of slightly,
Globes.
yeah, I would say glow ups. I mean, I really liked how they all looked. Like, they all look perfect.
Here, Isayama, this was his decision to make the character designs, and I did not like any of them. I only liked Eren and Armin. I mean,
No way.
Mikasa just looks like a guy, and Connie has
who
hair
looks like
now.
a
He
guy?
looked better bald.
I
Who?
I disagree. Mikasa is supposed to look like that.
Yeah, I think so. I
Yeah.
mean, Mikasa has always been tomboyish. She's never been, having a girly aspect. So
Mhm.
her having that short hair design, like, it's perfect for her character. I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you get attached to some designs. I mean, they did have to move on from them since the time skip. I mean, every time skip, there's like some glow ups,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
think
I
Armin had
actually
the
agree
best
with
hair.
you, Joel. Sorry, but yeah, I mean, at some point, I mean, what do you expect? 4 year gap between the last season, and we get, yeah, like you said, we get to attach to a certain image, and what we don't want to see otherwise. But yeah, I think these glow ups are not only physically good. I don't know. I feel like it plays a little bit, as far as like who their characters are. With that being said, I think Adamins, I was because for me in all the episodes, I mean, he always looked like the girl to me. And I know at one point, where at some points actually, I would literally think that he's a girl, especially because a girl voices him. So I really liked, that his hair was cut a little bit shorter and he looks more like a man
You
now.
know, I kind of feel like he's trying to look like more like Erwin.
Like Erwin. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That would make sense.
No, yeah, I definitely have to agree on that.
Yeah, and I mean, can we just talk about the character introductions? As soon as Eren starts attacking Marley,
Oh
uh,
God, yes.
that was such an amazing and hype moment. Seeing all the scouts. After going through what, like 4 episodes
It's
of
like 4 or 5
not,
actually.
yeah, and like not having none of the original cast or characters, and then like you just see the scouts like using their 3D maneuver gear going through Marley, and the shock and horror with Pika and Porco. Like,
Oh
Yeah.
yes, that was
Yes,
They were
that was
terrified.
just
Even
so well
even ones
made.
as Titans, they were terrified, right, of Levi.
yes.
yes, exactly. I mean, it was just
The Ackerman,
perfect.
they'd be like looking over their shoulder and stuff. As Titans, that's crazy. I remember starting season 4, I knew that all those episodes were really important to the story, but yeah, I would ask myself, when am I gonna get to see Eden, or the scouts, but the wait really really paid off when we finally got to see them. It was crazy.
I think something that is really underrated is how different each Titan is. I mean, yeah, they all have their special abilities, but I think the most special one out of all of them is Warhammer Titan. I mean, how it transforms. It grows from the feet up, and it has like its own little cocoon thing, and can make weapons out of the uh, Titan hardening. I'm gonna call it hockey, out of the hockey, and it's just super super awesome. Every single character up, they how they have their own quirks, and how they're all useful in their own right.
Yeah, I think that the Warhammer Titan is where Isayama just went like fully creative on the Titan, and I really like the design of the Titan, of the Warhammer Titan, and the fact that it uses its own hardening to build those weapons. I mean, we began with Eren just like attacking the Warhammer Titan even before it fully transforms. And then like
Yeah.
we think that he's winning, he's winning in this fight, but then you just see like the actual monstrosity that is the Warhammer Titan. And at some point I did think that Eren was gonna lose, and I was like, whoa. It's like
Actually, I'm so sorry, I forgot to add. For those of you that don't know what hockey is, it's a One Piece thing.
so
No, what is it?
watch One Piece and you'll understand.
Well, no. Um, when it comes to Warhammer, I got ahead of myself, and I started immediately like disliking her Titan because I felt like she had no weakness at one point because of the weapons that she can create pretty much at any given moment. So I wasn't expecting that win. Would we call it win from Eden? It
Yeah,
is a win, right? Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
I
win.
mean,
Yeah.
It
yeah.
was like
I
the Irradiator, so
Oh my
don't know.
gosh, that
I guess I'm
scene.
forgetting a little bit of what happened after that.
Yeah, like that scene was just brutal. Like using
Oh
Galliard
yeah.
as a nutcracker. I was at the
What
edge of my seat.
savage.
it was
Oh yeah, that's
intense,
right. That's
dude.
right.
And for a split second, I felt bad for Porco. He was being assaulted. Like oh my god, it was
He's
crazy.
like, let me kill
And
you, but wait a
and
minute.
the way like the scouts were just looking at him too, um, like they weren't against it, but I feel like at a certain
Like
point
Eden,
they
that's
also
enough.
like yeah, almost.
I mean, yeah. Like if you can see like how horrified Mikasa and Armin were by trying to help Eren. I mean, you could totally tell like from their faces. Like Mikasa was horrified that Eren attacked civilians and children.
Mm-hmm.
So
One thing we do have to be very hyped for is Eren versus Reiner. When Reiner came back as Titan, I was just cheering. Episode 8 is gonna be so hyped.
Wait, but also, I mean, isn't Reiner like without a will right now? Like he doesn't have a will to live, even.
Yeah, he didn't even completely transform into his Titan.
Right. Would it really, should we really be hyped about? Well, I mean, maybe something else gonna happen. But as far as like we saw this last time, it was very exciting. Of course, like everything that was going on, but it didn't even seem like he had the will to fight,
Well,
and yet
because
he's saying that he wants to die anyway.
Gabby
Yeah,
and
I think this is the
Falco
end
did.
of his arc, though. I mean, I bet Isayama's gonna pull it off, and this is where Reiner's gonna die. I mean, they might find a way for Marley to gain back the
The armored.
yeah, the armor. There you go. Sorry about that. Yeah, the armored Titan, and I think it is gonna be a very awesome close to Reiner's story, or right here, or they might try to expand it more, but we're gonna see Reiner now as the good guy. You know?
Yeah, I started empathizing with him. You know, with these last episodes. So
Yeah,
we'll
me
see.
too. Me too. I mean, I'm always on Eden's side, always, but I am not mad at Reiner though. Like, I understand his decisions and everything. I don't support him, but I'm not mad at him, if that makes any sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
that totally makes sense, and I think that we're gonna find out on episode 67 of Attack on Titan. So I guess we're gonna watch this episode, and then we're gonna come back and react and give our thoughts on this episode. Episode 67, Assassin's Bullet. We'll be back.
Okay.
So the biggest takeaway, Sasha is dead.
Yeah, can we just press an F in the chat, man? R.I.P. Sasha.
I think a death was with the title of that episode was
Inevitable.
inevitable or heavily foreshadowed. I just obviously didn't know who, but I felt like a death was coming. Um, yeah, and I think, yeah,
I mean, I think it was safe to say that I mean, at least me, I thought it was gonna be Sasha.
really,
I was hoping
it was Sasha.
nobody, but like you said, it was inevitable, and I really thought it was gonna be Sasha, and I knew it. I saw it coming.
I didn't think she was gonna catch up. I mean, literally, they were flying, they were far away, but she caught up somehow. But anyway,
It was
um,
all that guy's fault, that fat guy. If
that
he
guy.
hadn't, yeah, if only he hadn't, um,
If he wouldn't have been
I don't
fat,
even
this
know
wouldn't
what
have
he doing.
happened.
What was he doing?
What fat guy? Trying to remember.
The fat guy, the one that where Gabby took his ear and stuff.
Oh yeah, he was like I guess like doing a last minute look around. I don't know. Okay.
I honestly thought
Um
Falco was not gonna go with her. I thought he was actually gonna stay, and Reiner was just gonna pass down the armor Titan, and then they were gonna go to Paradise Island to rescue Gabby.
mhm. I didn't expect much of a fight between Eden and Reiner. Um
Yeah, so he
so
just basically like what punched Eren punched Reiner, but Reiner just wanted to save Galliard. Like that was his whole
exactly.
thing before
That was he
like
didn't really want to fight to the finish. So what was up with Zeke and that whole scene there? I'm a little bit
That
lost.
was
I think that is the thing that people are gonna talk about less. They're gonna be more concerned about Sasha's death, but I think no, I know Zeke is working with the scouts. I mean, that kind of gave it away. I mean,
Yes,
maybe
yes. I
not
wanted the
willingly.
confirmation. I
and
wanted to hear it
he was
from
the one with the plan. As I mean, for what we can tell.
now. If that's the case, how long do you think it's been? How long do you think they've been? So they've been teaming up since way before they went to go take Juan Maria because if you, the dialogue between Levi and Zeke made it seem that way. Remember?
I think not necessarily. I think they just been working with them recently. Just because, like, I mean, if we look at season 3, you know, the first fight between Levi and
Zeke.
Zeke, yeah, as the Beast Titan. I mean, like, Levi was there to kill him. Like, there was no holding back whatsoever, and that's why we saw on a previous episode there wasn't much of a fight between Levi and the Beast Titan. We just kind of see him collapse, but it's because it was
Yeah,
all part of the plan.
and yeah, it makes sense because Levi had a watch with him and was checking the time constantly. And then I think Zeke made a reference on that. He's
Oh
like,
yeah,
"Isn't it time?" or something like that.
yeah,
Interesting.
something like that. And then you know, we have those miscalculations, you know, that Seek of course talks about. And
And he refers to Gabby and Falco.
yeah, yeah, because I mean, they weren't supposed to come there in the first place. They like fully
Right.
believed that Seek was dead. They didn't like have any clue that Seek was working with the Paradise Island scouts. And now we get this plot twist where Seek was actually working alongside.
This is so weird. I wonder what that's gonna
Yeah,
be
I
about.
mean, you know what Isamaya is gonna throw at you, really.
Yeah,
That
so
can
it overall it was just an insane episode.
it went by so fast.
Yeah, it did.
It definitely did. And then you know, we get those, you know, shots of Sasha, you know, at the end of the episode, and it was just, you know, adding salt to the wound.
Yeah, now that I think about it, Zeke had all of the, I guess you could say, world politicians there in his little declaration of war, and since Aaron literally attacked a world conference, all the world has their eyes on Paradise Island, and everyone's coming to get them. And actually, a question I had: does the Warhammer Titan the girl at an eight? Is she actually royal blood?
No.
Interesting.
Because Zeke said we have royal blood
Royal
now.
blood.
But I think he was referring to himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he was referring to her.
I mean, but if Zeke was already working with the scouts, then they already had the royal blood. And since Eren has the founding titan or the coordinate, then they could have just used it. Why did they need the Warhammer Titan? I feel their only purpose was to get the Warhammer
No, I don't
because
think so. I
she was
think they're
royal.
they're I think they're going against the rest of the world. And sure, you know, they could have attacked and launched their full scale attack like in that little festivities, but you know, they still have all their armies and fleets, uh, you know, all the other countries, and they could have attacked again. So I think there was just like a little battle to get everything that they needed in order before like the actual war.
Oh,
So
actually,
wait a minute. Wait a minute. So I'm trying to figure this out because the scouts weren't fond of Eden's actions, right?
Oh yeah, definitely not. I love
So
how we saw that.
what was the plan after all? Okay, because obviously, Eden, he had been sending the letters over to the scouts, right? And what did they go do there? Do we know that already? Should we know that already?
I mean, yeah, like the whole point was to rescue and get Eren. Like they,
Right. Okay. So that was not the whole killing, not the whole. They just rescue him. In other words.
yeah, basically. And I mean, since they were working alongside with Seek, I'm pretty sure they were gonna somehow fake Seek as well. Like the only reason why the scouts are there is because Eren forced their hand,
Okay.
right? And we see that, and everybody's very very mad and salty against Eren because he did that.
They even had to fight up.
Yeah, yeah. We even got Levi kick him to the wall. That was
I thought we
interesting.
were gonna see like a repeat of when he gets when Levi kicks him in the court, but we just got a little taste of that.
Yeah, with just a little flashback.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, I have a question here. Do you think armor hardening is immune to the anti-Titan bullets?
I don't think so.
I mean, we know the hardening from the armored Titan definitely wasn't. But we also see that when Reiner punched Eren, he didn't cut through him like Annie did when he just kicked him. She literally sliced his head off. So in that case, armored Titan hardening is definitely stronger than just a regular armored Titan. So I think there is a possibility maybe it's just a bit more durable, but not completely immune to it.
Yeah, but for example, the whole premise of the anti-Titan bullets and weapons is that the whole premise is that Titans were basically becoming antiquated. Like the reason why there was that 4 year war, we start season 4 with that 4 year war, is because I guess the other countries already feel comfortable in taking on Marley, and they're so worried. After they win the war, the commanders are so worried that that Titans are going to become a thing of the past, that that's why Seek brings up the idea that, hey, you know what, we should take on and we should infiltrate Paradise Island so we can get the founding Titan, and therefore we don't have to worry about this anti-Titan bullets, because we can just manipulate the minds of every single person, and we can just have their change the alter
Yeah.
the history, and so I think that even with hardening, I think those bullets would have pierced through them, and that's why I think countries are becoming more comfortable with attacking Marley, even though they have Titans.
Okay, so I think it's the case here. I definitely do think that hardening is a bit more stronger. So basically, it was like Marley started off with uh, a knife, and now the other countries have come up with their own guns. But a knife is a knife; it can still do damage to you, and it can still, I don't know, be useful in a fight. So I don't. I just honestly think that hardening might be able to block some of those anti-Titan shots. It might break through some of the hardening, but not completely just be useless.
I mean, that's true, and we definitely see it, like I guess on the first episode, where Reiner, he takes like a bunch of shots, but in the end of the day, they're still getting harmed by those, and just like pair that with a bunch of those bullets being shot at you, and I mean they're not going to be able to do anything.
How many episodes of this season actually?
So far we have seen 8, haven't we?
I don't know, like in total.
Oh, so far we have only been confirmed 16 episodes of season 4.
16 episodes so far. Do you think there'll be more?
Yeah, I definitely think there's going to be more. I mean, if we look at the manga and the pace they're going at, there's still so much more content to go through. And I think they confirmed, like, yeah, Attack on Titan is going to get like the ending of the manga, so we don't have to worry about that.
Okay, so predictions for the next episode.
Well, yeah, they're gonna go over how they were able to get those soldiers. I think they were from like the Navy, right?
Yeah, they explained it. They talked about that like bearded person, the one that threw.
She's a
Uh,
girl, right?
I think it's a girl. I'm not 100. I don't remember too
It was a
much.
girl.
I think it was a girl. Yeah. And the one that threw Porco and Peak into that,
Yeah.
hole.
We
Uh,
haven't seen it before, right?
we Can you repeat that question?
We haven't seen it before, have we?
Her?
Yeah, the soldier.
Yeah,
The
we
one that
haven't. I think we're just gonna meet her. We're about to meet her. And I mean, like, there was another character that I guess we're gonna meet a lot more, which is Onyakopon. I think it's Hanji was the one that started talking about him. We've seen him referenced a couple of times. But yeah, I guess we're gonna learn a little bit more about how they got those new recruits on their
yeah.
side. And I think on the preview for the next episode, we saw, I think, a funeral. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna get Sasha's funeral.
Yeah, I didn't see the preview, but I guess
The
knowing a
other
few.
6 fallen soldiers plus the fat guy.
True. Uh, so yeah, so I mean, we could say this was a win for the scouts, but they still lost fellow comrades.
Yeah, win to lose at the same time.
Yeah, and I like how uh, Gene or John kept referencing it. Like he just wants to stop fighting. Like he's trying to get the closest route to stop fighting.
To end the
Like when
war, to
they,
end the fight.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much for tuning in into our first anime huddle. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we definitely did. Our goal will be to upload a new episode every late Monday, early Tuesday. If you want to go ahead and listen into more of our content, definitely do go ahead and subscribe. Tell your family and friends about our anime huddle. That tells us that you love our content and it helps us to keep motivated to work hard and post more content for you guys. That is all we had for today. I hope you have a great day and do stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Laters.